So let me share my screen real quick. Yeah, so someone mentioned in our group how to identify the ideal client. I think a lot of times we have a hard time having a really clear message. And so once a year, I suggest once a year, like just figure out who your target audience is, because I think every year it changes, I feel like, because we learn more, we get to know more, we see more, and we constantly fine tune our business. That I think it's helpful to every year just do this exercise. So this is like a short form. I did this for my pro group. This is the deck that I use. I think it's really important to figure out first who you are. That's what I said in the group. I gave an exercise to identify yourself. Because before figuring out who your ideal client is, you should figure out who you are, what your brand is. And again, every year you should do this exercise at least once, because you grow, you keep changing. So this would be a good thing to try. So first of all, if you haven't done the exercise to know yourself, highly recommend doing that this weekend. But this is a look at what I do. It's funny, I actually have the notebook here. So this is how I identify myself. Two sections. One is Bonnie Tsang. One is my studio, Bonnie Tsang Studio. So I just start listing everything out that comes to mind. Bonnie Tsang is a photographer, a mom, wife. What am I passionate about? Interestingness. So what do you think is interesting about yourself? I would say go really detailed, because sometimes, let's say a 9-to-5 job to a business owner, to some they think, well, that's nothing interesting. A lot of people, that happens to a lot of people. But what's interesting is that's part of your story. So you have to see every single part of yourself as unique. Doesn't matter how you think of yourself, how you think of your worth, doesn't matter. Just list every single thing, like immigrant to feeling at home in America, single mom to remarried. Interestingness, expensive taste. Just things that like you feel like right now I'm embarrassed to show you, like I say that I have expensive taste, I have good taste, but it doesn't matter. This is your own exercise. Just list everything out. And then what's your voice? So I notice my voice is upscale, selective, simplicity. I even put elegance, sophistication, timeless, luxury. So I list every word that I could think of. And then I would feel, a day or two later, I go back to look at the list and I just cross stuff out. And just slowly fine tune it, cross things out as you go, and then keep the ones that you feel really resonated with. For Bonnie Tsang Studio, it's a little different. So Bonnie Tsang Studio is a creative studio. It's a brand content creation, social content creation, branding. So really just tie up the whole thing as visual materials. I provide a lot of that. And areas of expertise, I want to focus in working with architecture, interiors, fashion, home goods. These are the areas that I want to focus in. And what kind of expertise I have? Brand expression, brand elevation, positioning, storytelling. Culture is equally important. So even if you're a one-man show, just still figure out, pretend you have a team of people, what kind of culture you want. I myself implement this kind of culture in my own, even me, it's just me right now. So I still even implement that. I enjoy life. I encourage growth. So I take a lot of classes, read a lot of books, help each other succeed, which means right now I'm helping myself get to be successful. So that's the kind of thing. And then I would just go in and just cross things out and then just leave out the very important stuff. And that's the exercise I was telling you guys to do. Once you have this thing done, how do I go to the next one? It's not going to next. Okay, maybe that's the end of it. Okay, so, and then I would go figure out my ideal client. So I use this software called Notion, Notion. They have a desktop version. They have an app for your phone. So it's great for like just constantly punching in information. So as you can see, I have a lot of like folders to put stuff. But again, I have a folder for ideal client, and each year just a very short, you know, what age group are they in, gender neutral. So my message is fit for, I want to work with the client that's neutral. It could be a guy, it could be a woman, but leaning toward more masculine because I'm more into masculine things. Job, so architect, designer, creative director, publishing editors like magazines or blog editors. What kind of lifestyle? So this is just imaginary. You just imagine, have fun, daydream, like, oh, it would be cool to work with this person, and just, again, list all this thing out. So what kind of lifestyle? Luxury hipster, meaning not the like looking homeless type of hipster. I want them to be like, this person will buy like a plain t-shirt that's cost $200. He shops at Etny, APC, lesser known designers. He shops at Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. At home, he probably do pour overs. He loves to cook, go out, eat a lot as well, travel. And to figure out my pricing versus the kind of lifestyle they have, in order for them to have that kind of life and also able to hire me, I estimated they need at least this much, under 25K. That's something you can calculate. You can maybe like think of an area, let's say Los Angeles, Silver Lake. This person lives in Silver Lake, and you can kind of check out their home prices and kind of figure out what's their mortgage, and like you can kind of estimate what's their annual income. Now here's the cool thing. I know a lot of you guys are creatives, and so we need visuals. So after finishing figure out who I am, what my brand is, and then figure out who my ideal client is, I go in Pinterest board and have a secret board. And every year I do this exercise, ideal client. And I would pin anything. As you can see, this is exactly me plus the ideal client that I list out, right? So it's like toward more masculine style. This person, he totally looked like he's like an architect buying $200 t-shirts, and the lifestyle of like coffee and the type of magazine, the type of art he's into, how does his office look like, if he goes out to eat, this is the food can he'll eat, even salt, like packaging, like just down to, you can see it's very clear. And now you notice that when I go out to have coffee or meet with a client, I specifically pick places that resonate with this area. So I would choose a lot of cool boutique hotel to meet with clients, cool coffee shop like this, and yeah, like even curating images for Instagram. If I don't have my own pictures, right? I don't live in the area with this kind of lifestyle, then what do I do, right? So just find pictures that you can curate, make sure you get credit, you credit the photographer, credit your source. But this is basically how I figure out my ideal client. And when I send out these messages, I always get the right client coming to me. So like Estee Lauder came to me, Gap came to me. It's because they resonate with my message with theirs. And so I don't even need to go out to pitch myself. They just come to me. So this is how I, every year I do this. And it's great with this exercise because you can always switch. Let's say tomorrow you don't want to work with, let's say tomorrow I don't want to work with luxury hipster. I want to work with like the type of target audience, right? So I would like change the whole thing, but it's super easy. Once you have this thing down, especially having this visuals, now curating images for your Instagram, your messaging is so much easier. I just blurt out a lot of information. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. We can chat.
Oh, I have one question.
Yeah.
Do you recommend that the use of photos from other sources from photographers for your Instagram profile?
If your account is a business account, I would be super careful. I would write to the photographer. Mm-hmm. And if it's from a magazine, I would list out from which magazine, like basically on the bottom, like magazine, photographer. Photographer is really the main thing because it's their copyright. So I would be careful with that. I myself usually tend to look for sources that's already been published, like in magazines. If you go to, let's say you follow some magazines that you like, let's say Elle Decor. If they post something, I feel more comfortable reposting their stuff than just go to the photographer's source and copy.
Of course.
Yeah, because they're already publishing it.
So you use photos from other sources in your personal Instagram, in your business page?
I don't. I rarely. Probably 5% on my Instagram are. It's because I'm a photographer. I use Instagram to promote my work, so I don't want to use other photographer and like promote another photographer. So that's different. But yeah, it depends on what business you're in. If it doesn't compete with your own business.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a photographer, so this is like a nice strategy, like interesting strategy. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So anyone, how do you guys feel like this exercise? Like, do you think this is something that will help you figure out your message better? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I definitely think it would. I especially like the activity of like making that client persona in a way, like having worked at a place where we think about like buyer personas and who we want to sell to. It's kind of the same idea. And I never thought of doing that for a client and getting that specific and just having fun with it and being creative with it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you do the pinboard, you're gonna like have so much fun. The good thing about this having a clear message is that because sometimes let's say we have a product, let's say I have a service, we tend to just keep throwing stuff out, right? This is my latest project. This is the latest thing we've done. It's constantly coming from our own perspective and not shooting to any specific target. But once you have a person, then you just speak to that person. Whether another person in that lifestyle decided to hire you, that's great. But right now you just want to focus in that. That way, if someone, let's say a completely opposite from my ideal client, right? Let's say a stay-at-home mom decided to hire me for a family shoot. She's completely off, but it's because when she see what I'm sharing, she's like, oh, I want that lifestyle. I want Bonnie to help me translate me into that. So sometimes we do get clients that's outside our ideal client, and that's actually really good because you have a clear message. Now the right person come to you and asking you for help. To help them tell a different story, or maybe like help them tell the story. So this exercise, highly recommend for any industry. I think it works for any industry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think especially curating content for our social media, we find it really hard. Like, I don't know what to post today. But now that you have a message, let's say, let's go back to the slideshow. Let's say earlier you see my own about myself, like as a mom, as a photographer. Once I have the clear message, now I also know that, oh, today I should talk about being a mom. Oh, I'm a business owner. I'm an immigrant. I should talk about that, the struggle, or the story of how I came from 9 to 5 to become an entrepreneur. Like now I have a really clear vision, like, oh, today I can talk about this. Tomorrow I can talk about that. So you don't have to be like every day, like, I don't know what to post. So it's really super easy now. Any more questions?
Well, I just think that application Notion is a great opportunity to look at it, to review it. So
yeah, so it's actually free. I can show you a little bit of it real quick. So let's say for business related, or let's say for newsletter, I basically just throw everything in. I see articles that I thought it would be cool to share. I just throw it in there. So you can put actually links and then some quotes that I thought would be cool to share. And maybe just some ideas pop up when I'm driving, real life algorithm. That's something I just throw everything in, and a place that I can go back into. And because I can, there's an app for the phone. So same thing, like I'm watching TV and I heard a cool quote, and I can quickly type it in and maybe share next time. So now you have a one place for all your stuff, and it's so clean, and I love the white background.
That's great.
So is the Notion, is it just kind of like, I'm not quite getting the app, like it's for like notes, just things to refer to later, or is that?
Yeah, so notes, they even have calendar. They even have like table of contents. So like, let's say you have a team, that actually would be great because there's a table. So let's say I wanted to so you see how I tell myself what kind of classes to take, right? So now you have a table, and I can move from like, okay, I started learning studio lighting, and I can move it into in progress and then complete it. And then you can have,
that's great.
You can have check stuff, books to read, more ways, and then quote that I can think of to inspire myself. And like, so it's super clean, super clear. You can have table, you have calendar. And this is great because if you have a team to figure out your content creations, your calendar, content like editorial calendar, you can throw that into. And then maybe you saw some cool Instagram accounts, just copy their URL and paste it on there. So like your team or yourself can go back looking at into. So highly recommend. And it's free. So why not?
Great.
Yeah. So that's a good place where you can store maybe your yearly like ideal client, and then you do your exercise, and who am I? Do that exercise. And you just go back in and delete and restart.
Okay.
And then compare, and then that adding with the Pinterest board, now you have you're gonna realize like, oh, it's really super clear. I know what to do next.
Okay.
Cool. Tim, you're very quiet. Do you have questions? All right. Well, thanks so much for coming to this. So this is like a super short version. I know Terry and Laura, next time you can join the pro group, then it's more in-depth. But cool.
Thank you
so much.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
Okay.
guys.
So happy weekend.
You too.
Yeah.